All right, week two of the Bachelorette. We don't really know how many weeks Claire's season is going to be. We're probably looking at three, four, five, somewhere in that range. But we kind of just had a pretty normal start, and tonight we're just starting to ease into the weirdness that is going to be Claire's season, and I'm absolutely here for it. I'm enjoying it so far. I thought it was going to be quite bizarre, basically it being public knowledge who she's going to end up with or who she's going to pick before starting the season, but still just watching everything unfold has been highly enjoyable so far. Lots to talk about this episode, so we might as well start jumping in. One of my favorite moments, Claire's voice going up, I don't know how many octaves. The first time she had one-on-one time with Dale today, it was kind of reminiscent of Crystal or Alea. Some of those famous Bachelor contestants who just had this weird habit of their voice going all of a sudden so high pitched they didn't even seem like the same person. But we definitely saw that first time tonight when Claire starts talking to Dale, different voice. We even saw that a little bit last week, but even more amplified this week. Hopefully Claire can get that under control so that she can actually get to know Dale, because you guys all know they've had no contact whatsoever prior to the filming of this show. Wink, wink. Blake Moynes was the only person who broke the rule. Claire made that very, very clear last week. Oh, just ridiculous. Claire and Dale are just they're at a point that is just doesn't seem realistic for the second week of the show. At this point in the season, it's supposed to have been, first impressions, one conversation, one group date, another conversation, and that's it. And we basically end the episode with Dale and Claire full on makeout session, like stuff you don't see till it's like down to like the final six or so. Just absolutely wild. And it's really going to throw a massive, massive curveball on how this season plays out. Yosef, he's clearly being set up as the bad guy this season. It's very, very clear. We were probably, most of us watching, wondering why did she keep this guy after night one when he pretty clearly got busted lying about chatting up women very recently before they started shooting, and now he's all hyping himself up to be the villain of the season, saying how the whole strip dodgeball thing was so disrespectful to the guys and how he'd never do that, and he'd never want to portray that image for his daughter to potentially see. Cut to Yosef half naked getting ready for the night. Oh, Yosef, you're so beyond clueless, it's not even funny. And you might go down in history as one of the most pathetic villains in all of the Bachelor Nation history. Let's wipe him away, delete him from the season, and move on. So let's talk about that. Let's go to the first group date. The first group date, it was just kind of had a weird vibe. Like the start of the date was like, all right, let's go to one room at the resort and do an activity. All right, let's go to another room in the resort. Why don't you guys go get something from your luggage to give to Claire? And it just had this vibe of like either being like super cheap or super old. And I hope that they get a little more creative with the dates as we get further into the season, because it was not good. It was great and all seeing the guys kind of pour their heart out to Claire. That was kind of interesting, but it felt like we were at like a high school play set, like some fake trees in the background, a fake castle on the side for Claire to stand in, and the whole setting was just it wasn't great. So, Bachelor Nation or the Bachelorette, if you're listening, you're gonna have to step up these dates because that was not fantastic. From there we end up to the night portion of the date, which was significantly better. But immediately we started with that awkward moment of basically Claire doing her opening speech of the night, and then awkward silence. Everybody just sitting there, nobody asking, and like there's always that guy. Like I'm always like, I would never want to be that guy who's like, I'll steal you, Claire, immediately. But this was a scenario, nobody moved. Everybody just sat there. And then I think it was Bennett finally was like, you want to go talk? And then he gets like 2 minutes with Claire before she's like, all right, I'm going to have to go out and tell these guys how it is. And, she goes and does her whole spiel. And, this was another great Yosef moment where he just starts his whole rebuttal with, you're crazy. I don't know if any of you know about talking to other people, but generally, especially someone you like and are romantically interested in, don't immediately start throwing the "you're crazy" accusations around, because it's not going to go well for you. You really, really could have picked significantly better words there. And even just excluding the "you're crazy" and just saying, I think we're all here for you. It doesn't have to say, you're crazy if you don't think we're all here for you. That's you guys are already in a bad spot, already in a hole. Yosef, don't dig that hole for the group any deeper. On this date, Dale, he got some more special time with Claire. This was the infamous high-pitched Claire voice moment. I'm scratching my head. I totally forgot who got the rose now. Somebody got the rose. They're not important for the season. Good for them, whoever you are, because I don't remember. And that's about it for that date. From there, we moved on to a one-on-one date, Claire and Jason. This one kind of was a little weird to watch. Jason you could tell, was a very much wanting to open up, but just holding back. And Claire was absolutely living for the moment. And there was one interesting little interaction between them. And Jason said something along the lines of, like, I have some deep, dark parts in my past. And Claire was like, yes, give them to me. Give me all your deep, dark secrets. Like she just like lit up when he said that. She was like, yes. And I don't know what that whole deal was about. But it was clearly Jason wasn't totally comfortable in that moment. Claire, at least body language wise, was very much saying like, hey, I like you, I want you, I'm attracted to you. And he was just trying to get through the moment. So I don't think things are going to work out too well for this pair, just based off it seeming like Jason, one, not quite ready to open up. He was trying, and he did start along some paths to opening up. And two, Jason seemed like he was just oblivious to Claire's body language and how like locked into him she was. So I just besides that, we know what's going to happen this season, that he was just a little oblivious to the whole situation around him. All right, let's move on to our second group date. This was our sports date. Every season has one, and it was kind of a little sad moment for me, just realizing Fred Willard wasn't there. Normally he does most of the color commentary at these sports events, and he has passed away. So we won't be getting to have the pleasure of having him do the ridiculous play-by-play on these sports dates anymore. So yeah, a little sad moment, but let's move on and get back into all the action. This was like, usually these are like fairly competitive. You know, we have like, comes down to the wire, or there's a little bit of drama, but this was just red team obliterate blue team. Let's go on that date. And then we had that moment, like all the guys like, all right, strip off your undies, strip off your jock strap. Let's see it. And surprisingly, I think 4 of the 5 guys, they whipped it out. They just whipped it out. And like, we even got to see Blake Moynes like standing around doing interviews with his hand covering his junk. Very bizarre. The guys going back into where all the other guys were, sitting down on the couch, you know, some of them buck naked, some of them with a jockstrap dangled around their crotch. It's just kind of a weird moment. So from there, we head off to the group date. And this one, I think this went really well for Chasen. He got probably the best time with Claire. You know, they had a moment. It was pretty good. You know, they kind of bonded over, you know, not really fitting in when they were younger. And just kind of things blossomed from there. Then we got to see Brandon get kicked off, go home. That was but just totally ridiculous. You know, like, hey, why did you want to be on this season? Oh, when I heard you were the Bachelorette, I had to be on the season. It was like, that's awesome. Like why me? What was it about me? And he's like, you're hot. Well, Brandon, see ya never. That was a pretty ungracious exit and end to your Bachelor career. So adios. Don't let the door hit you on the way out. Yeah, not great. That was not great. We also had Blake Moynes show up out of nowhere to kind of steal some time. You know, this is becoming like one of the new Bachelor traditions where someone has to sneak onto a date they're not on to try to steal time with the Bachelor or Bachelorette. And this time it was Blake Moynes. They tried to build it up like it was going to be this big controversy thing. And then in the end, like, the guys were a little grumpy about it who were on the date, and we just didn't hear about it again. That was kind of the end of it. And hopefully, drama-wise, that's sort of the level that we stay until things really start imploding on this season, because we all know it's going to happen. I just don't want the petty drama. Just give me that big, juicy drama. That's what I'm here for. That's what I live for. And that's what I want to see. From this date, Chasen gets the rose from the date. By far and away, he had the best connection on everyone out of the date. And then we head over to the start of the I think rose ceremony, cocktail party rose ceremony. We see we see Claire pull Blake Moynes, give him a rose, and then we're kind of left at that point for our teasers and spoilers for the next episode. So yeah, a lot to digest in this second episode. Even though we pretty much know what's going to happen here, it's still interesting to watch and interesting to see. And a lot of these guys are probably going to come back later in the season, whether they are picked by Claire or not, or have a good connection with Claire or not. So it's good to kind of familiarize ourselves with all these characters, because we're probably going to be seeing them, a bunch of them again later. All right, I went a little long here today, but as always, thank you so much for watching, and until next time, we'll see you later.